figure out. There we go. Awesome. All right, we got it all figured out. Sometimes things don't work as we want, and brand new updates, new buttons, things to press. I gotta love it. Well, today I want to thank you guys. We're going to be talking about image prompting 101. And what we're really going to do is we're going to take a look at the different image tools that are available to us out there. And you'll see me looking around my desk here as I get a couple things set up. So we're going to be taking a look at those different image prompting tools. We're going to talk about two tools in particular. We're going to talk about DALL-E, which comes bundled with ChatGPT. We're also going to talk about Midjourney, and then we'll spend a little bit of time talking about Stable Diffusion and also about another one called Leonardo. There are a lot of other apps out there, and I know I'm not going to be able to cover them all, but this is a 101 class, and I want to cover some of the basics to help you create amazing images that you can use for your social media. You can use in your marketing, you can use in your blogs, just for fun for that matter. You can just create images, and even things that you can do, ways you can create images that will allow you to sell those images and make money. So we're going to walk through a host of those. I want to encourage everybody that's on. We can see we've already got a number of people joining in. If you guys have questions, please put them over in the chat, and I will do my best to cover those as we kind of walk through the basics and teach you guys basically how do we create images with AI. So let me begin by jumping into probably two of the most common questions that we hear. The first is, how do I get consistent characters? In other words, once I design a character or work with AI, any of the models, doesn't matter which one, and I want to then create a consistent version of that character, that same character in a different scene, maybe wearing a different outfit, whatever. How do I do that? Well, let me give you the bad news. It's not as easy as it should be. All of the AI image generation models have built into them currently a degree of randomness. Now, there are some ways that we can do that. I'm going to cover those really real quickly, that you can help keep that consistency. But I can tell you from personal experience, if I need to create, say, 4 consistent images, I'm probably going to have to create 40 to 80 images to get 4 that I'm comfortable with. So just accept the fact that right now, as we sit here in June of 2024, when it comes to AI image generation, creating consistent characters is not as easy as we might want it to be. The other question that comes up all the time is, how about text? Why is it when I ask ChatGPT through DALL-E or Midjourney to put text on an image that it messes it up? Well, there's a lot of reasons behind it, but the simple reason is that AI image generation models, they look at what they're creating as pixels, not as letters. And therefore, when we're going ahead and we're creating those images, even when we put text in, many times, in fact, I would say over half the time, it's going to spell that incorrectly. Now, there are some tools that do a better job of spelling than others. Ideogram happens to be one of those that spells better, but even that's not perfect, and you don't always get things to show the way you want. So I just want to address those two things right up front, not to discourage anybody, but to let you know those are two questions that come up all the time, and I'm going to cover some simple ways to deal with those as we go along. But before we dig in, let me go ahead and share my screen here a minute, and I want to show you into Midjourney. It's my favorite of all the image generation tools, and the prompts that I use here really will work almost anywhere. And one of the things I want to remind you of is I'm also going to give you, at the end of this webinar today, I'm going to give you a prompt to create a prompt. What do I mean by that? I'm going to give you a prompt that I use in ChatGPT. You can also use it in Claude or Gemini or anything like that to create an image prompt that I can then use in any of the image generation tools. And when you're getting started, or sometimes when you're just stumped, I find that to be a great way to do that. So let me go ahead and share my screen here a minute. Let's go ahead and pop that up. Let me find the right one. All right, somewhere along the line, I seem to have misplaced that. Hang on a minute. Let's pull it back up. So one of the interesting things about Midjourney is, and again, it's the tool I want to show you first, is Midjourney doesn't work in your typical fashion. Midjourney works in what's called Discord. So it's an entirely separate app. and you connect to the Midjourney servers, and then you can create images. You can see I'm in my personal folder here. As I go through and share, you'll be able to see a number of different things here. But when I go into Midjourney, what I want to do is I need to literally type what we call an imagine command, and that gets it to create images for us. Now you can see I've got a number of images up here. I like Pixar style images, but I'm going to teach you how to do a lot more than that today. Why do I use Midjourney? I think it creates the best images, and I also like their licensing model the best. You do have to pay to get access to Midjourney. It doesn't have to be very expensive, but when you do that, you get a license to use these images commercially. Everybody said that you have that. All the other purveyors out there said, hey, you can use our images commercially. But I love the fact with Midjourney that I'm actually paying them a few dollars every month, which gives me essentially an exchange of value, which is one of the things that the law looks at. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not giving you legal advice, but as an entrepreneur, it makes me more comfortable knowing that I can go ahead and use those images and that I'm paying for a license. So the simplest way to do it is we just start, and in Midjourney we type imagine. If we're using DALL-E, we don't have to type in imagine, but this is something we do in Midjourney. And then we can ask it what we want. So let's just say we're looking for an image. I'm sitting here in my office right now. I can look outside, and there's a street going by. There's a tree. So let's just let's do a similar image, and let's just say a white-tailed deer standing in a wooded lot. And then if you want, you can give it different styles that you may want to go for. And this, again, applies to DALL-E, applies to Leonardo. And so I'm going to put in the style of National Geographic. And just like that, I can go ahead and press enter, and it's going to go ahead now, and it's going to create 4 different images for me. Now you can see it added a couple of bits of text. If you're looking at the screen carefully, you can see it added a --AR and a -VV or --V and a --S. Inside of Midjourney, these are specific commands that you can give in order to define the aspect ratio, the version that we want to use, and the level of detail. This works a little bit differently in DALL-E, and so that's why I'm not going to be covering those in great depth. We do have a master class where we talk about some of those extra features if you want to know. It's also a great thing just to take a look up. But let's take a look here. It's going ahead and creating this. You can see it's starting with those 4 images again. There we go. And I can now open that up. And you can see hopefully on the screen here, those are 4 images of a deer that it's created, and that we have the opportunity of creating any one of those. So let's say as I take a look at those, I go, okay, those aren't bad, but maybe not as photorealistic as I want. And so I might want to try to make that a bit more photorealistic. What I'm going to then do is I'm going to, in this case, just do a regenerate, it's called. It brings back up that prop. And I'm going to add into the beginning here something just like photograph of, make sure it knows I want a photograph. I'm going to fix my spelling on style. And then I'm going to go ahead and give it a photographer that I like as well. And say Peter McKinnon. Now, Peter's not necessarily a wildlife photographer, but he's a great photographer. And just by putting his name in here, again, the AI will understand that I want to have something that's inspired by him, and it's going to create 4 more images. When we're done here, we'll go ahead and go into DALL-E, and I'll do the same prompts in DALL-E so you guys can get an idea of exactly how that works and what that looks like. All right, so let's give this just a second here to go ahead and continue. And again, it's going to give us 4 brand new images, and then we can upsize any of those. We can use any of those images we want. It's actually one of the key differences between DALL-E and Midjourney. When you request images with DALL-E, you're going to get 1 image at a time. When you do this in Midjourney, you're going to get 4 images, and you can use all of them, or you can go ahead and update them however you want. Let's see, we've got some new ones. They're not quite done generating here. Looks like we're at 85%. All right, let's take a look. So we've got some other images here. I like these potentially a little bit better. Obviously, a slightly different looking deer. Let's just take a look back at those. And of all of those, I think I'm going to say I really like up here, number 1. If I want to maximize that, I just click on U1 underneath. And then you can see I can get a nice big image just like that. So that's Midjourney. Let's go ahead and stop sharing there, and I'm going to go over to DALL-E in ChatGPT. Let me go ahead and get that window up here, and I'm going to show you exactly how we might want to use that instead. So again, for if you're familiar with that, we just want to go to ChatGPT. Let me share my screen here a minute. Get to the right screen here. I got too many windows open. There we go. Share screen. And we want to go over and look at ChatGPT. All right, so this is ChatGPT. You guys can now see I'm sharing my screen there. And what I want to do here, I'm going to hide my sidebar just to get away. The great thing is when you log in, whether you're on a free account or a paid account, you get access to this. You'll see with ChatGPT, you have 3 different models you can choose, 3.5, 4, and 4.0. I'm going to default to 4.0. That's a model that's available to everybody. It's their latest model and fast. And if I want to create an image, I'm just going to go ahead and we'll paste in the same prompt, a white-tailed deer standing in a wooded lot, and we'll make sure we spell style correctly this time, in the style of National Geographic. And it's going to go ahead and recognize that we're asking for an image. And you can see now it's going to go ahead and create that image for us. It'll take just a second here as that comes up, and then we'll have an option to see how that is. Now, I want to tell you, if you're looking for photorealistic images, Midjourney is going to do a better job in general than what DALL-E will. Now, DALL-E actually did a better job here of getting a white-tailed deer as opposed to just a different deer, but this is definitely not as photorealistic. And so if I'm interested in this, some neat features about DALL-E that I like. One is that obviously, if I shouldn't say obviously, it does a good job overall creating it, but I can go up and select here if I want, and notice I get a circle. And let's say that I decide I want to get rid of maybe this tree here. I can select that part, that tree, and then based upon that, I can choose what I want to do. By the way, I can change the size of that so I could get smaller areas, or maybe I want to make that a little bit smaller, and we'll grab this one down here as well. And now that I've selected that area to edit, then I can, let's see here, I should be, oh, there we go. Over here, then I edit selection. So now I can type in what I want, and I'm just going to say remove tree. And it's only going to edit the area that I highlighted. So this is one of the really nice features of DALL-E, is it makes it very easy to edit things and make changes to the image right here live while we're going. You can see it's going to use that image and it's going to recreate that, but it's going to take those 2 areas that I highlighted, and in theory, it'll remove the tree and make the rest of the image all fit in. Let's see how that works. So there we did. You can see it got rid of part of that limb down here, and that big tree that we had there is now gone. So if I can't scroll between the two, but it's gone, and that's one of the great features, again, of that. So let's go ahead and let's exit out of here, and let's say that we want to create, there you can see, so there's the tree that was there. There, the tree is gone. So again, a really nice feature of DALL-E that we have the ability to go ahead and do that, and that's great. So Randy's asking a great question. What format does Midjourney save in? It returns a PNG file. And so you're going to get a PNG file out of Midjourney, Randy. If you're doing it in DALL-E, you're going to get what's called a WebP image. That's a .webp image. And that most applications can understand. If not, you can go and you can convert that into a JPEG image using a third party as well. But one of the reasons I love, again, Midjourney is it does do that in a PNG style. It's a higher resolution image, and generally you're going to get a 2 to 3 megabyte size image versus on DALL-E, the WebP, you're going to get maybe a 100K image. So a much smaller image with much less information. Great question. And I want to encourage you guys, again, just a reminder, if you've got questions as we're walking through this, please don't hesitate to put those in. I want to make sure I'm answering your questions because there's a lot we can take a look at as it comes to this. So let's go ahead and let's create a new chat. And this time, let's say we want to create a promotional graphic. And I want to address some of the spelling issues that are often come up. Now, this is a demo, so it might work well and it might not work well at all. But let's go ahead and say that we want to create a sale flyer. In this case, we'll just say that we're a local business. So please create an image of a sales promotional flyer. I'm going to give it a couple colors I like. So use blue and orange as the primary colors. And This graphic should help me promote my, we'll say, or we're a local roofer, my roofing business, residential. I can't type and talk, guys. We apologize. Residential. There we go. Roofing business. And then I'm going to ask it to put on my company name. Use my company name. And what I'm going to do is, if you want to put text on, I recommend you putting it in 3 quotes inside of DALL-E. It does seem to help. So we'll just call this ABC Roofing. Now, we may or may not get what we want here, but let's give it a try. We're going to go ahead and see what happens. And this is the type of thing, again, as an entrepreneur, you may be doing, looking for a way to promote your business or something like that. And it's a great way to bring that in. And again, we're going to get one image here that we can create. The other way to do this while this is thinking is that you can create an image that you like and then bring it into a tool like Canva, Affinity Photo, Affinity Design, anything like that, and it will then, you can add the text in there. So let's take a look at this image. So it came up, and you can see here's a good example of poor spelling. It got the ABC Roofing right. If you take a look there, you can see that it got our ABC Roofing right. Unfortunately, protect is misspelled, and there's a bunch of other stuff that doesn't make sense. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Maybe you're roofing with, I don't have any idea. And again, a lot of the text here is just totally messed up. That's going to be pretty typical. And so what I want to do here instead is I'm going to go back and we're going to give it some additional information and have it edit this. So let's say I like the layout. Maybe I like everything there, but I just don't like the words that are in there. So please recreate without any text. And in theory, this will go ahead and recreate the similar, if not the same image. Let's probably guess for similar. And it'll remove the text out of there to make it that much easier to pull into another application in order to add text. Again, this is not something that the AI models do well when it comes to placing text. So it's just something to be aware of. The next thing I'm going to show you is how we do it. Yeah, we can see there it didn't listen, gave us an entirely new design, and that's where we're at. So what I want to do this case is let's define maybe a better style image. Maybe we're looking for an 8x11 type image, and we want to have a home with a fresh roof and a sunshine behind it, and that's all we want. So let's go ahead and grab this. So let's say, please create a, let's say, 8.5 by 11 inch image. Now it's not necessarily going to create it to 8.5 by 11, but it'll create those dimension or that image aspect ratio for us. Let's see, of a residential home. So use blues and orange again. And then let's say no text. We'll put that in big capital letters just to maybe see if it remembers that. And then let's do illustration quality. And again, I can't spell, so let's fix my spelling there. Illustration, there we go. And go. And let's see if we get something similar. So it looks like it's going to go square again, so it didn't get our aspect ratio. It's another thing I like about Midjourney, folks, is Midjourney, I can specify very specific aspect ratios, and it does a great job of that. But let's give it just a second, and then I'm going to go in. No, we did get what we wanted. There we go. So this did an 11 by 8.5, but this would be good. Now this is an image that we could use. It used, as you can see, there's no text now. Now I could take this image and I can pull that into like Canva or anything else, and I can add text to that image very, very easily. So that's how I recommend you when it comes to creating those graphics that you do that. Again, it's super simple, super easy. In fact, let's go ahead and let's save this here just a minute. And I see we've got a question here about Canva. Let's go ahead and show you in Canva. Let me start Canva up here a minute. So I don't have an affiliate code here or anything, folks. I'm not trying to sell you on Canva per se, but I do think Canva is a great application, especially if you're like me and you're not a graphic designer and you're trying to figure out how can I go ahead and create something. Let me get to the right screen here a minute and share. Let me go through my windows here a minute. So we're going to stop this share a minute, guys. And let's see here. Find all the buttons. I've lost my buttons here. Let's stop screen sharing. There we go. Now you get me. You don't want that. Let's go back into Canva, and we're going to share our Canvas screen. All right, so this is Canva. If you're not familiar with it, it's a very inexpensive application. Cost, I think, $6 to $8 a month. It gives you tons and tons of capabilities. You can just see some of the stuff that I've been creating here, just as an example. But let's go ahead. In this case, let's say we want to create a presentation slide. That'll be a good size image that we can bring in. It's going to create a blank. I can go ahead and bring in any one of the templates if I want to. In this case, let's go ahead and let's grab one of the templates here. This will give me big text on top. So I'm just going to pull in this page. All right, so this happens to be an Easter one, and that's all right. We're going to use it for something different. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to upload that image that we just created. So click on Upload Images here, and we're going to go over and grab this image from DALL-E. There it is. I can bring that in, and it's automatically now going to fit in the background. You can see just like that, it pops right to the background. So super easy. Now I can take this text, if I like this big text, and I can say ABC Roofing. And we can change even the way that's laid out. In this case, it's got a little bit too much letter spacing in, so let's bring those letters a little bit closer to each other. That's pretty good. And then we're going to make it just a little bit smaller so it all fits on one line. And let's see here. Probably would help if I gave it just a little bit more room. Let's go ahead. There we go. Just like that. Now I can take this and I can center it. You can see there's a little line that pops up here when I get it centered. There we are. So now I'm centered on top of things. And we could change this one down here to just say your residential roofing experts. And I can drag this and this box down, highlight those. I can drag that down here, maybe about here. Again, we'll get it centered. And you may go, well, Jonathan, that color doesn't look good. That's not right. No problem. I'm just going to click on that. I'm going to click on my color up here. It's going to give me other colors from the document that I can pick and choose. In this case, we'll pick an orange. Let's see here. Oh, that's my text. That's why I didn't want to do it. There we go. So now we've got an orange background in there, and maybe I want to make this stand out a little bit. I can do that. Let's remove, see how this has got kind of a, I don't know, it's a grayish background. Let's remove that by clicking background remover. It's going to take just a second here, and I'll actually remove that and make that background different color, and we can change that to white, just like that. That cleans it up a little bit. And then let's go ahead and let's make this stand out a little bit. I'm going to edit my text. We're just simply going to go into effects here. If I can find that. They've just recently updated all kinds of features here. There we go. And that makes it sometimes difficult to fix. That shadow is not bad, but we need to change the color. So let's go ahead and change our color to, let's grab a darker blue. There we go. It's not a perfect blue. Let's grab this one. Looks like it's better. There we go. And you can see just like that, we've now taken that image that we've had, we've brought it into Canva, we've made all the changes that we wanted, and now we've brought our text in. And you can see that's really, really simple to do. You can do that same thing in Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop. If you're not a fan of Adobe, you can use Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo. There's tons of different apps to use. Canva I find really simple, and that's one of the reasons that I recommend that. So you can see that's how we can create an image and pull that in. So another thing that happens sometimes is that we have an image that we want. Let me go ahead and stop my share here. And then we want to figure out, how do I recreate something similar? Now, as I mentioned, image tools don't tend to recreate images perfectly, but if you've seen an image that you like and you want to create something similar, AI can help you do that. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and go to Facebook here a minute. Let's see if we can pull that up here. All right. And I'm going to go over to my Facebook feed. Let me share my screen again. Oh, wrong button. There we go. All right. Window. There we go. All right, so we're taking a look at my Facebook feed. You guys should see that on there. This is my Facebook. We're going to go ahead and grab an image. We'll just wait for one to pop up here a minute. Let's go actually into my AI group. We'll definitely find an image in here. Hopefully nothing bad. Let's see here what we can find as somebody shares. So here's a good example. Now in this case, this is from my Facebook group. They've shared this image, but this is a pretty wild image. If we want to figure out how to recreate that, what we can do is we can save that image. So I'm just going to right click and I'm going to go ahead and save that image down to my desktop. And then I can go ahead and from here, I can go into ChatGPT. Let's create a new chat. And I'm going to upload this image by clicking on the paperclip. So I'm going to upload that image to ChatGPT, and I'm going to say, please analyze this image and give me a prompt that I can use with an image generation tool to create a similar image. So it's not going to be identical, but you can see it's going to now analyze that image, and it's going to come back and give us a prompt that's similar. So you can say this is a lot of depth, a highly detailed surreal image of futuristic humanoid figure bent on vibrant. I won't read the whole thing, but it's got a lot of stuff here. And if I want, all I need to do now is take that prompt and feed that in here, and let's see what happens. We should get an image that resembles a lot of the characteristics. Is it going to be exact? No, it's not going to be exact, but it will resemble it in many ways. As we're thinking here, I want to show you some of the detail that sometimes it's helpful to put in. So this talked about, vibrant, flowing, liquid-like substances. It then talked about shades of pink and magenta, which were there. The figure is seated in a contemplative pose reminiscent of The Thinker by Rodin, which, again, similar to that. And you can see here's the image that it created for us. Now, is it the exact same image? No, but hopefully you can see there are some similarities in there. The other thing we can do with that, if we go, okay, Jonathan, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. How do we make this different? Is let's go ahead and share in Midjourney and try the exact same thing in Midjourney. So let's go to Midjourney here a moment. All right, so you can see we're back to our deer that we did. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to use what's called a describe command. And when I do that, it's going to ask me, do I want to upload an image or give it a link to an image? In this case, I've already got the image, so I'm just going to upload that image. There it is. And then I'm going to press enter. And it's going to actually now automatically analyze that image, and it's going to give us 4 different prompts that it believes will create a similar style image. Now, again, this happens. We're in a demo. It didn't like that image for some reason. Don't know why, but for some reason it didn't like that. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to really quickly go back to Facebook. Let's stop our screen sharing. Let's go back to Facebook here a minute, and we'll find a different one. I tell you what, I actually have some different ones. So let's go back to Midjourney. We'll just grab a different one off of my computer. So describe, and we're going to upload that image. So you may be going, Jonathan, why did it do that? I don't know. I honestly don't. Something in the filters, it determined it was not an appropriate image. Do I know why? No, I don't. I don't have any idea. So let's see what we've got. So this is, I was at a event the other day. I took some pictures. So there's Jeffrey and myself. Let's go ahead and upload that and say I want to create a similar picture to Jeffrey and me and see what it does. So it's going to go ahead, and it didn't like that one either. Maybe because it was an HEIC file that comes out of my phone. So we'll get there. So the other thing that's important to know here as we're working through this is if things don't work, keep trying. Find something new. All right, so we've got these cartoon animations that I've done. Let's grab this one right here. We'll see and upload that image. There we go. We can see the image. That means it's probably working. This image was originally, by the way, designed in Midjourney. It's going to pop up, and we'll get some examples here of ways to do it. You can see it's giving us 4 different examples or different ways to look at that we can take a look at. Zoom in just a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. There we go. And what's neat about this is I can imagine all of those. So one was a 3D character of a smiling young black woman in a yellow sweatshirt and glasses holding an iPad with a white background in the style of Disney animated film, full body portrait. The next was 3D character of a smiling black woman with glasses and hair in a bun, wearing a yellow hoodie, holding an iPad, white background. And you can see it gave it. Let's have it just imagine all of those for us. So it's going to process 4 jobs here for us, and let's see if it gives us similar. Now, let me tell you what prompt I used, because that may help. This prompt is based on most of mine, which was simply 3D cartoon animation, in this case of a black woman using an iPad in the style of Disney and Pixar. That's what I originally typed in order to get that. Let's see what we get here, if we get anything similar. So we can see it's thinking, it's going to work through this. And we'll be patient here for just a moment while this comes through. You can see it's as it's rendering, it's kind of giving us previews there. And let's see, there we go. Now that we've got it. So here is one. Some of these are pretty similar. Let's just take a look, a little bit bigger version. So definitely some similarities to the first one. Same with the second, some similarities. The third, again, similarities. You'll see here is a good example. This one over on the upper left looks more photorealistic versus the others. That happens sometimes. And again, this is why you need to create multiple images to get what you're looking for and ultimately deliver where you want. We should have one more that popped up. I don't know where. There it is. It's working on that one right there. Not quite done. That'll pop up here at the end in just a second, and then we'll see based on that. So if you're looking to recreate an image, that's a great way to do it. So, all right, we've done that. Let's go back and take a look, see if we've got any questions of things we should answer. I don't see any new questions. So what I want to do is I want to go back here and I want to show you, as I talked a moment ago, about how we create a prompt to create an image prompt. In other words, how can we go into ChatGPT and create a prompt there that'll create a great image prompt for us? Because sometimes we don't know what type of detail to add, or we're just not sure what things to give it. As you're creating images, I want to encourage you to start off simple and then add in details. In other words, don't start by describing the scene in tremendous detail. And part of the reason is the more detail you give to the AI model, the more likely it's going to get confused and ignore aspects of it. So I highly recommend you begin by working your way through and starting with simple prompts and then adding more and more detail in as you go through. But let's go ahead and go back over to ChatGPT here a minute. There we go. We're going to go back and we're going to see that image. I'm going to start a brand new chat. And I'm going to grab a prompt of mine that I use quite a bit when I'm trying to figure out how to come up with this. And I'll share this with you guys in the chat so you can see this. But this is now a ChatGPT prompt. You could also use in Claude or Gemini that we're going to use to give us a prompt that we could use in any image generation tool that's out there. So it says, I'd like you to take on the role of a prompt engineer with an expertise in image creation, assisting me in crafting prompts for an AI art generator. I'll provide you with brief content ideas, and your task will be to expand those into detailed, unambiguous, and coherent prompts. When developing prompts, describe the content and style of the images using clear and accurate language. It's helpful to include references to popular photographers with emphasis on nouns and adjectives. So as I'm doing this, guys, this is going to create a photorealistic type image because of, again, photographers. If I want to do something different, I could put in illustrators or something like that. Then there's some variables here for you to put in. Use the following formula for creating prompts. Photo of. Now, if I didn't want it to be a photo, I would change this word here to like illustration or animation or something else, but I want it to be photorealistic, so that's good. So, and then it's going to tell it, put in relevant nouns for whatever I ask. The medium, inspired by a popular photographer, brightly lit, vivid colors. If you have, you can even put in a specific camera and lens that you want it to use. So I'm going to use one of my favorite Canon cameras here and a lens here. If you don't have one, you can just delete it, or you can use mine, that's fine. And then composition includes shot types and positional elements. Then I tell it, when providing a prompt, remove the brackets. That's this information. I kind of gave it a guide up here. Remove the brackets. Use natural language and be as specific as possible, employing precise and articulate language. And then I tell it, always give me 2 distinct full prompts. Do you understand? So when I put this in, I'm not actually uploading anything. I'm just giving this to ChatGPT to ponder. And it says, yeah, I understand. Let's proceed with an example. So now I'm going to give it an example. And let's go back to our white-tailed deer example. So a white-tailed deer in a wooded setting with sun shining through the trees. So we're describing what we want, and now it's going to create two unique prompts for us that we can use again in Midjourney, we can use in DALL-E, wherever we want to give us that information. So you can see I've got two prompts, prompt number 1 and prompt number 2. Let's go ahead and try these real quick in DALL-E here since we're right here. So first one, we won't read the whole thing, but let's go ahead and paste it in. And it's going to create that. And then I'm going to do the second one as well. And these will both be slightly different. But you can see as we do this, it's adding in all kinds of things. Now, the big surprise, it doesn't align with their content policy. Guys, we're seeing more and more of this. I don't have any idea why it didn't like that. So let's go ahead and go over to Midjourney, because Midjourney, as a general rule, doesn't have as tight of filters as DALL-E does. DALL-E tends to be a little bit overly protective, shall we say. So let's go ahead and change our screen share and see if we can have these work out in here. So we're going to go over, again, just as a reminder, if you're using Midjourney, we start with Imagine, and then I'm just going to go ahead and paste that in. And it looks like we're doing good. I'm going to go ahead and grab the other one that I had as well. And we'll imagine that one as well. You can create 3 or 4 of these to work at the same time. So we'll watch this come up here for just a second, and we'll see what type of images we get. We're going to get, hopefully, images of white-tailed deer, but they're going to likely be a bit different because the prompts are a bit different. And again, this is a great way if you're looking to figure out how to create image prompts, just putting this in. So I'm going to go ahead and share in the chat here a minute. So this is the prompt to create an image prompt. If you're looking, this is going to be over in the chat window. And let me make sure I've got that for you. There we go. It's a long prompt. There you go. That is over, and you guys can edit that and choose that. And let's go take a look at what type of images we got. So from where we were at before, I think we've done a lot better than what we did the first time around. So if you remember the first time, I just said picture of a white-tailed deer. This time we've got a picture of a young deer, obviously, because it's spotted. So that means it's a fawn and it's young. But we said in the woods with the sun shining through the trees. These are some pretty good images. I don't think these are bad at all. Let's take a look at the other one. Again, similar. And again, it's still bringing in the spotted fawn type style, which may or may not be appropriate, but we're getting some images and we can see different styles. If you take a look here, the one on the upper right is a lot darker than the others. And then again, we get to pick the one that we like and make changes and adjust and things like that. So hopefully those tools prove to be helpful and add some value to what you're doing. While we're doing this, we've got a couple more minutes here. As I take a look at the clock, we've got about 5 more minutes. I'd love to know if you have any specific questions that you'd like me to answer about image generation. Again, we've shared some of the positives, how easy it is to create images. We've shared the fact that you can use these images commercially for your marketing, for your social media. We've talked about how to add text to them. We've talked about the hardness of creating consistent characters and the importance of starting with a simple prompt and then adding in more details as you go. But I'd love to know if you guys have any additional questions on this. One of them I see here is, how can we sell these images? So let's say you've created a number of images. There's a couple of different ways that you can do this. One of the most popular, and although I don't do this, is what they call POD, or print on demand, where you can actually go out and take the images that you've created and then you sell them as an imprint on maybe a sweatshirt, a handbag, a t-shirt, or anything like that. There are a number of websites out there that you can do that through. And what print on demand basically means is that you go ahead and you create the image, you create the mock-up of the product, and the software will help you do that, the print on demand software. But you're not actually buying any inventory. What's happening is when somebody buys that shirt or that sweatshirt or that handbag with your image on it, it's automatically being printed at that time or printed on demand, and then it's drop shipped to the client. And by drop shipped, I mean you don't have to ship it. It doesn't come to you and then you have to send it out. It goes directly to the shipper. You're going to pay them a fixed price for that, and you can mark it up above that, and that's where your profit comes in. So that's one way to make money selling your images. Another way is to go and create a site maybe on Etsy or something like that, and then sell prints of your images. So if, let's say, those white-tailed deer images that we had, and again, you can, any topic you can come up with, you can put in there, you can actually create prints that you could sell. You can collaborate with different printing companies to create matte prints, to create metal prints. You can even sell digital versions of those if you want to. And Etsy is a great way to do that. There's other options as well, but that's a great way to do that. So can you make money selling images? Absolutely. Another way you could do that is, let's say you're working with a business that needs images for their social media or maybe for their website. You could sell them a batch of images for a set price. So there's a lot of different ways you could do that once you get good at creating images. So great question. Thanks for asking that. Let me take a look here at our comments and see if we've got anything else here a minute. So we've got a comment here from Randy. Ansel and Adams was probably the reason GPT refused. Thank you. I did not read that prompt well. You're right. So one of the things that they don't like is when you're referencing in the wrong way popular photographers. So I can probably do it in the style of Ansel Adams and it'd probably work. But because I recommended, or in this case said, used Ansel Adams, it flagged it and said, it doesn't want to create an Ansel Adams style image. So thanks for catching that, Randy. I really appreciate that. I didn't take a close enough look at that, but that is exactly probably why that got refused. Again, this is a good reminder when you're prompting, if you're not getting what you want, try again. Put in that prompt again, start simple, and then add in more descriptive language to refine that image and get it to where you want. Don't start so detailed. I've seen a lot of people start with these very, very comprehensive prompts. And then what happens is the AI model literally doesn't know what to prioritize, and it prioritizes things you don't want it to. So don't get into describing minutia when you're starting off. Talk about broad concepts, share that, and then refine based upon that to get where you want. I also mentioned today there's a couple other tools we didn't take a look at today. There's one called Leonardo.ai. A lot of people like that. It creates, I'd say it's in between DALL-E and Midjourney as far as quality. I think Midjourney is the best, then probably Leonardo, then DALL-E. I don't think DALL-E does a great job of photorealistic images. It can create some beautiful images, but not necessarily photorealistic. Really good for print on demand, by the way, because generally you're not printing a true photo quality, more of a drawing. And again, DALL-E does that well. But Leonardo.ai, and I believe with Leonardo, you get about 10 free images a day. So it is an option if you don't want a paid subscription and you want to create images to be able to do that. There are lots of others out there, and one of my other favorites that does a beautiful job is a tool called Stable Diffusion. That one, again, requires a bit more setup, so that's why I didn't cover it with you today. But there are lots of others. There's Ideogram, which does a good job when it comes to spelling, and there are a plethora of others. So my advice to you, get started with the basics. Start with DALL-E, start with Midjourney, start with Leonardo. Get to learn how to prompt images well there, and then add in additional tools down the road if you feel it's needed. And just accept the fact that sometimes you're going to need to pull images into Photoshop or Affinity Photo or something like that in order to make some of those adjustments you're looking for. AI is not always going to create the perfect image for you, and sometimes it's much faster just to do a little bit of photo editing. So great feedback today, guys. Great questions. I want to thank you. I want to encourage you, go out there and start trying to create images, have fun with them, and learn how to prompt so you can get some amazing images. With that, we'll get the replay posted. I want to thank you for your time, whether you're watching live or on the replay. It's been great having you join us today. Make it a wonderful day. And if you've got questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And before I leave, one quick thing that I should remind you of, guys, if you are not already a member of my free Facebook group, go ahead and visit for additional resources. Visit jonathanmass.com/linktree. You'll see links to how to get in touch with me if you need to reach out to me, how you can book me as a speaker, but probably most importantly, how to join my free Facebook group. So you can do that. We've got over 115,000 entrepreneurs in that group talking about prompting. And a lot of it's on images. Some of it's not, but a lot of it's on images. So if you want to learn, see examples of images that are being created, see the prompts that are being used, it's a great place to do it. So just go to jonathanmass.com/linktree, and you'll be able to get a link directly to that free group. And I'd love to have you join us there. Guys, I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank you for everything you've added value here. That's been great. Have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you in our next webinar. Make it a great day, everybody.